Hey guys, my name's Paul Haas, physiotherapist in Melbourne, Australia. Just a quick one on the Active KTAPE. This is a new and exciting tape. The Active is a nylon-based tape with a bit of spandex, and it's a little bit different to your traditional kinesiology tapes, which is a cotton-based product with a bit of spandex. And the benefit of the Active is it actually elongates. There's no end point, it keeps going, just like a muscle. So we can use this tape to our advantage, where normally with the kinesiology tape, it starts off good, but it gets stiff. This just keeps going, just like a muscle. And as it keeps going, it creates all this energy and it can snap back, much like a bungee cord, which means that it actually works really well with unloading joints and facilitating muscle function. So it's a fantastic tape. Now, let's get going with the hamstring technique. Just a quick one on the hamstring, guys. We've got the hamstring actually going over two joints, so around the hip joint and also the knee joint. So for today's application, we're going to focus on just the knee joint and the hamstring deloading through this area. But just be mindful that you may want to do this, not just through this area, but also through the hip. So you might choose to do a massive technique that goes from here all the way up to the glutes. You may choose to do what we're going to do today, which is a hamstring around the knee, or you may just do the hip hamstring muscle area. But as I said today, we're focusing around the knee. So hopefully that wasn't too complicated. Okay, so first of all, I'll measure out my area. Now with the Active, we're just taking up the slack when we apply the tape. Different kinesiology tape where you actually stretch about 50% roughly, we just take up the slack. So we need to measure the tape almost as long as we're going to apply. So we start up pretty high on the hamstring, and we're going to end up around sort of the distal 2/3 of the calf. Okay, so I'm going to cut that just about that length, maybe a little bit shorter, just because we do take up a little bit of slack. Okay, really important, like our other kinesiology taping techniques, the Active tape, we still need to round the edges because just with skin and just having those sharp edges may cause some problems, and the tape may recoil, and once you get that breached area, it just creates all sorts of problems. So make sure you round your edges. Okay, so now in this technique with the Active, you have to have the limb or the joint in a shortened position. Traditionally with the kinesiology tape, we have the joint or the area in a lengthened position. So just remember that. We're working in a shortened position so that, as I said, like my bungee cord, the tape's on here and it's short and tight, it's going to take up all the slack here. So it's going to create a lot of the energy will go through the tape rather than the hamstring and snap back, which is exactly what we want it to do. Okay, so with our end, we want an anchor, and we're going for an anchor around that sort of 5 centimeters. And today I've chosen our big tape, okay? So we've got a 2 and 3 and 4 inch tape. This is the 4 inch. This is the 75 mil tape, the 100. So it's pretty big, but really we want to have that strong tape with good surface area to deal with the hamstring. Okay, so let's go with our anchor. Try really hard not to touch the end of the tape and the acrylic, because once you sort of start to push and prod on the glue, it becomes less effective. Okay, so we get our anchor down. And just remember, guys, the acrylic glue is heat activated, which means that all that means is that once it's warmed up, it sticks much more. So once the glue approximates that sort of skin temperature, you really get that real stickiness. Okay, so what I'm doing here, guys, is we've got Amy here's leg. If we go up to 90 degrees knee flexion, we're going to drop back around that sort of mid-range there, so around that 45 to 60, okay? So I've got my anchor here. Now I apply the tape with a bit of tension, okay? So you want to have a bit of tension as you're applying, okay? And we just keep going with the tape, and then we lay the ends without stretch. Like the kinesiology method, we want to have no stretch on the ends, or guess what? The ends will ping. Now you can already see there this bowstring effect here. Now this is exactly what I want, because a lot of the energy in the tape is going to be taken up in this area here. Okay, it's really important. But just like a normal tendon in your body, we want to hold that down so we don't get a bowstring effect, because this just causes heaps of problems, and we want to make sure the tape does adhere and hold to the skin. Okay, so what we're going to do, guys, is we're going to cut around here, which is basically our support strap here. Okay, so that's going to go over this area here. So we take away that bowstring type effect. Okay, so what I'm going to do, a similar thing, I'm going to lay down this end here without really any tension. Okay, and we actually call this, I should say, our support band. Okay, so it actually tries to support this area and this bowstring effect. So we put the tape over, we create that protection of the bowstring effect, and so the tape's down. So now what's happening is we've got protection here. We've got a really long lever of tape, which is going to take up all that energy that normally the hamstring would be taking up. And so from that effect, the hamstring is deloaded. Okay, the muscle is deloaded, and half the energy, or let's just say a fair bit of the energy, is taken through the tape, which means we can function when we've got an injury, when we've got a tendinopathy, we've got general soreness in the hamstring. So all those things, this tape is perfect for. And so as Amy starts to straighten her leg, we can see all that energy going through the tape, and for Amy, she'll feel almost like a recoil effect of the tape. Okay, so guys, that's the hamstring technique. It's a fantastic one. Make sure you give it a go, and we'll see you again sometime soon. We're gonna stand